It was supposed to be the perfect weekend. 5 college friends rented an old cabin hidden deep inside Blackwood Forest. The cabin was surrounded by thick trees, and the nearest town was over 30 miles away. They had no idea that before the night ended, one of them would lose their life, and the killer would still be inside the cabin.
I really don't like this place. Ever since we arrived, I've had a strange feeling that someone has been watching us. Maybe it's just my imagination, but this cabin feels different. I think we should spend the night together instead of wandering around alone.
Emma, you always let scary stories get into your head. This cabin is old, so of course it makes weird noises. We came here to enjoy ourselves, not to spend the whole weekend being afraid nothing bad is going to happen.
Actually, I spoke to the owner before we came here. He told me something strange. He said that no guest should ever enter the room upstairs because it had been locked for years. I laughed when he told me that. But now, I'm starting to wonder if he was serious.
Come on, everyone. It's just an old story to scare tourists. Every abandoned place has some kind of creepy legend. Instead of worrying about ghosts, let's make dinner and enjoy the evening.
The group laughed, cooked dinner, and spent the next hour talking about old memories. The rain outside became heavier, and the wind shook the windows. Then, without warning, every light inside the cabin suddenly went out. The entire house fell into complete darkness.
Jake, Ethan, is everyone okay? I can't see anything. Somebody please turn on the lights because this isn't funny anymore.
Nobody move. I think the power just went out because of the storm. Ethan, weren't you checking the generator earlier? Can you go outside and see what's wrong?
I'll check it, but nobody panic. It should only take me a couple of minutes to restart the generator. Just stay where you are until I get back.
A few moments later, the lights flickered back on. The room looked exactly the same, except one chair was empty. Liam had disappeared without anyone noticing.
Where's Liam? He was sitting right next to me only a minute ago. There's no way he could have left the room without one of us seeing him.
Liam, stop playing around. If this is one of your jokes, it isn't funny anymore. Come out, right now.
The friends searched every room in the cabin. When they reached the second floor, they found Liam lying motionless inside the locked bedroom. The door had been locked from the inside, and every window was
I've
tightly shut.
investigated murders for over 15 years, and one thing has never changed. People lie, but evidence doesn't. One of you knows exactly what happened tonight, and before the sun rises, I will expose the killer. Before I ask any questions, I want all of you to understand something. A young man has lost his life tonight, and whoever is responsible is standing somewhere in this cabin. If anyone lies to me, I'll find out. The evidence always speaks louder than words. Now, I want each of you to tell me exactly where you were when the lights went out. Leave out even the smallest detail, and you may become my prime suspect.
I stayed in the kitchen after dinner because I wanted to clean the dishes before they piled up. I remember hearing everyone laughing in the living room, and then suddenly everything went dark. I froze because I couldn't even see my own hands. When the lights came back, I walked into the living room and realized Liam wasn't there anymore. I swear that's all I know. Liam was my friend. I would never hurt him.
You sound honest, Emma, but fear can make people forget important details. If you remember anything later, no matter how small it seems, tell me immediately.
I was feeling suffocated inside the cabin, so I stepped outside for a few minutes to get some fresh air. The storm hadn't become too heavy yet, and I remember smoking near the front porch. When the lights went out, I thought the power had failed because of the weather. I came back inside as soon as the lights returned. I never even went upstairs. Someone else must have done this.
Interesting. You claim you were outside, while everyone else stayed inside. That means nobody can confirm your story. For now, I'll keep that in mind.
I never left the living room. I was reading an old diary that I found on the bookshelf. It belonged to the previous owner of this cabin. Some of the pages were torn out, but one sentence caught my attention. It said, "The walls remember every secret." I thought it was just a strange quote until tonight. When Liam disappeared, I was just as shocked as everyone else.
An old diary. That's interesting. Sometimes the past explains the present. I'll need to examine that diary later.
The generator has been giving us problems ever since we arrived. When the lights went out, I immediately grabbed my flashlight and went outside to restart it. It took me about 3 minutes to get everything working again. I didn't hear anyone scream or run past me. If someone committed the murder during that time, they must have known exactly what they were doing.
3 minutes is enough time for a planned murder, but only if the killer already knew the cabin very well.
Detective Ryan slowly entered the bedroom where Liam's body had been found. The room looked untouched. The windows were locked from the inside, and there were no signs of forced entry. At first glance, it looked impossible for anyone to have entered or escaped. But Ryan wasn't interested in appearances. He was interested
Most
in
people
evidence.
search for what is obvious. I search for what doesn't belong. Every crime scene tells a story, if you know how to listen. The victim's watch stopped at exactly 9:18 p.m. That means the struggle happened at that exact moment. What's this? That's impossible. Mud doesn't appear by itself. Someone carried it into this room.
A few steps away, Ryan found a shattered coffee mug. Under the bed, he noticed a tiny brass key covered in dust. Finally, caught on the edge of the door, he found a small piece of torn black
The killer
fabric.
made one mistake. They believed these clues were meaningless. In reality, one of them is enough to expose the truth. I've listened to every statement, examined every clue, and reconstructed every minute of what happened tonight. At first, this looked like an impossible murder. A locked room, no witnesses, and no obvious escape route. But impossible crimes only exist until someone notices the smallest mistake. Jake, would you please stand up?
Why are you looking at me? I've already told you everything. I was outside when the lights went out. You're wasting your time accusing an innocent person.
You said you were outside because you wanted fresh air. That's an interesting story. But if that were true, how do you explain the mud on your boots? The ground outside the cabin was completely dry until after the murder. That mud didn't come from outside. It came from beneath the cabin.
You're making assumptions. Mud isn't proof that I killed anyone.
You're right. Mud alone isn't enough. That's why I kept looking. This torn piece of black fabric matches the tear on your jacket, and this small brass key, it doesn't belong to the bedroom. It unlocks a hidden passage behind the bookshelf downstairs. You entered the room through that secret passage, confronted Liam, killed him, locked the door from the inside, escaped through the passage, and returned before anyone noticed you were gone.
A secret passage? We've been inside this cabin all evening. How could we have missed something like that?
I never wanted it to happen like this. Liam wasn't supposed to die. He found something in the basement. An old metal box filled with stolen money and documents. He said he was going to tell the police tomorrow morning. If he had done that, my life would have been over. I panicked. We argued. I pushed him, and everything happened so fast.
You let us believe we were all in danger, when it was you all along.
Greed has destroyed more lives than any weapon ever invented. You didn't just take Liam's future, you destroyed your own. Jake, you're under arrest for the murder of Liam Parker.
As the police escorted Jake out of the cabin, everyone believed the nightmare was finally over. The case had been solved, and justice had been served. But Detective Ryan wasn't convinced. Before leaving, he walked back into the hidden passage one last time. Deep inside the tunnel, he noticed a strange symbol carved into the stone wall. It wasn't old. Someone had carved it recently. Below the symbol were 5 chilling words. This is only the beginning. Ryan stared at the message in silence. Whoever left it wasn't Jake. That meant someone else had been inside the cabin. Someone who was
Some
still out there.
mysteries end with an arrest. The most dangerous ones begin with a question. And I have a feeling this case isn't over yet.
Who carved the message? What was hidden inside the mysterious metal box? And who was the person watching Detective Ryan from the shadows? Find out in the next episode of Detective Ryan Files.